I just saw on the televisions in here the Yankees yesterday with Stanton and Judge hitting home runs, with their giants hitting home runs. The Yankees have been criticized for years because they haven't won in a while because they get to the playoffs and the home runs don't work as well in the playoffs. But they advanced yesterday, and Billy thinks the fix is in, and Stugotz thinks that Terry Francona was in on the fix.
Well, they got an extra day of rest, and the Yankees used it to their advantage with Nestor Cortez. And he pitched well. He gave him 5 strong innings. But it was strange to see Francona. He cost them a series possibly here because he went with Savale.
Not possibly.
Right. He went with Savale, I believe, who is terrible. Has been terrible, is terrible, especially against the Yankees. He could have went with Shane Bieber. He didn't want to go throw Bieber on 3 days rest. Now, Bieber was dreadful against the Yankees, I think, in Game 2. But you have to go with your best arm. There is no tomorrow. There are no other games to be played if you lose. And if you're going to go down, you have to go down with Shane Bieber. So I think Francona, it was such an odd decision because he said he didn't want to throw him on 3 days rest, yet Shane Bieber later in the game was up in the bullpen, ready to go. And it's odd that he didn't go with his best pitcher, and I do think Francona was kind of in on the fix there.
Yeah, you know? I mean, I was not prepared today to say that he was in on the take, but there were some suspicious things going on. There was very clearly, if you looked at the replay, a runner that was safe at first. He didn't challenge. That ended an inning. Right. That could have led to some runs. And
he was ready to go home, Terry.
Yeah, he was ready to go. Cheeto Francona, we saw what was going on there. And he seemed ready. He seemed ready for the offseason.
Mm-hmm. I loved that Stugotz gave me 90 seconds of baseball takes because I don't hear those. Right. You don't hear baseball takes.
It's a terrible job.
Horrible.
They picked the wrong starter. They went to the bullpen too soon. That's like Boston sports radio in June. I've never experienced that before because we don't give a shit about our baseball team in quite the same way. And so the fact that Stugotz had he picked the wrong starter, and let's argue.
He did pick the wrong starter. He should have gone to the bullpen sooner. He got 1/3 of an inning and 3 runs.
He had an ERA of 80 for the game.
Horrible.
I mean, Savale against the Yankees this year has a 10 ERA. That's his Game 5 starter when Shane Bieber's available to you?
I love it. Also, every home run that gets hit in Yankee Stadium looks like a pop fly.
Yep. Well, it's those two guys, too. It's right field and those two guys because Stanton and Judge hit pop-ups that go out of the park. You think they're pop-ups and they just keep going.
I would be terrified to see what if they actually got one. I think it would end up in Queens. They would hit it so hard.
No, they're not that good. How is every hotel in New York booked? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, that story. Tell them about that story.
Well, it was sprinkling the day before, so they canceled the game. But the Guardians had to check out of their hotels because it was supposed to be the last game 2 days ago. So they checked out of their hotel, and they were either going to go to Houston or they were going to go home to Cleveland, depending on the outcome of the game. Then they canceled the game, so they went back to the hotel, and the hotel was overbooked, so they couldn't stay there. And then they checked every other 8 billion hotels in New York, and no hotel could accommodate the entire team. So the whole city was booked on a Wednesday, on a Monday night. The whole city was booked. They couldn't get a single hotel, so they had to split up the team. Cheeto was in on this whole thing. He was probably telling people, "Let's split them up. Let's go around town. I don't want to be doing this anymore. I want to go home to wherever it is that he's from." Where's he from? What's he doing on the offseason? He's on a boat somewhere, right? Is he a lake guy or do you think he's an ocean guy?
Definitely a lake guy.
Really?
Lake guy, yeah. Strikes me as a lake guy.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Was Tito on a boat on the lake in the 5th inning of yesterday's game because he was in such a hurry to get to the
He was pissed probably.
season?
He had plans. He said, you know what? I know that the way that this works, I know the Yankees have to advance. I just have to play my part. Again, I'm not saying that he's in on it. I would never. But he was probably thinking, you know what, Tuesday I'm going to be out on the lake somewhere. And then when he found out he couldn't be out on the lake somewhere, Lake Erie, whatever lake it is that he goes out on, he said, you know what? I'm going to be there Wednesday. No one's going to ruin my fishing trip again.
With Savale. Yeah.